Okay, so this is the last episode of the series, and this is to talk about assistive technology. And excuse me, can how assistive technology can be helped and supported by universal design for learning. Um, I want to acknowledge that they both have extremely different objectives when it comes to what they mean. So, universal design for learning is meant to have accessibility for everyone in terms of how they receive learning and in terms of like everyone gets the same thing. Whereas assistive technology is very individualized, um, but I can see how it can work in terms of universal design for learning. So, an overview. Uh, in terms of relatively low assistive technology, um, it can be extremely easy to implement it into and be supported by universal design for learning. For example, like pencil grippers, iPads, and stuff like that. Um, iPads are not low tech; they're high tech, but still, the concept is still there. The next thing is newer technologies can help improve classroom environments, and just having those around and available um, can lessen the difficulty in terms of getting assistive technology. Um, so the universal design approach is to create products and environments to accommodate individuals in a wider spectrum in terms of abilities. Um, this can be extremely accommodating and flexible in terms of what a child needs, which is great in terms when you're starting to figure out assistive devices that really work for a child. Like having this flexibility is extremely amazing, which is something that universal design for learning is really great at doing. Next is how the curriculum of universal design for learning is how do I put this is very open to discussion in terms of assistive technology. Um, but we'll get a bit more into it because it's a bit contradicting in terms of what individualized assistive technology is and how it can be implemented in these classroom environments. I think it's very unique and something that's very different from what I'm used to. I personally don't have too much experience with this. I have experience with how to do universal design for learning in terms of lesson plans, but in terms of assistive technology, that on the other hand has been something new that I am ready to like figure out and learn more about. So back to low tech. So low tech can also include like wheelchairs, glasses, and canes. Those in terms of universal design for learning is something that I never really considered is eyeglasses. Like, okay, in terms of everyone in class, it's seating them where like children like would be best in front of the classroom, like and stuff like that. Having larger prints all over the classroom, so like it's easily accessible for students. Those lower technologies allows for students to all have the same access, which is important in universal design. Um, in terms of technology, such as so like things I would think of is like mobility switches in terms of like keyboards, um, and different types of keyboards in terms of physical disability. Having those just around and what works best for students is also a great way to support universal design for learning. Having different like keyboards and like keyboards technologies like iPads. What's the palm thing? The palm device we talked about. I think in episode 3. I think in episode 2 or 3, one of them. Um, and it's it allows assisting these individuals in a manner that gives them the individuality but also makes it seem like, wow, someone else is also using these devices, so I'm not the only person that needs them. Having that creates an environment that is easy for students to engage with one another and have less pressure in terms of societal, like, wow, I'm getting more than someone else in order to like learn the same. Not, it relieves those pressures that a student may feel. um in terms of the approach, so buildings are inherently made to be accessible after certain laws were passed. And so universal design for learning, in terms of that, it's in classrooms, it's having those like little mobility, like different types of desks, different seating options. Having those just around allows for students to focus on what they need without feeling as though they're distracting others because they have something different than someone else. But having them available for anyone to use to figure out what works best for them is great. Having that accessible to them is what's extremely important, especially in universal design. This helps support assistive technology and helps be like, wow, assistive technology is really good for students regardless of if they meet a certain criteria. It may just help them focus. It may just help them actually engage with others and stuff like that. It's it's so unique in terms of teaching that universal design for learning for teaching is such a unique experience because you have to make it as broadly specific as you can in order to engage students, but also understand that there's a varying level in what certain students will understand compared to others, but also make them seem as though they're on the same level and no one's being treated higher than the other or someone's being treated lower than the. Having different options just available allows for personal growth in terms of a student to appear. So I was left with this one quote from a reading that I did in terms of this. It was, in a world where we are very aware that understanding human behavior requires knowledge of the complex interaction between both cultural and individual development, we should not be surprised to find that fostering human learning will require access solutions that are optimal interactions between what is universal and what is individual. There is a very fine line. With that quote, there's a very fine line between what we should make completely universal for all and what should be individualized. Because some people really do need that individualized approach in order to thrive, but also that universal understanding of everyone needs this also can be extremely helpful in developing confidence and self-awareness as a person. So I know this is one of the shorter episodes, but I think that I got most of my points across when it came to universal design for learning and assistive technology. It is something that is very new and very not researched upon, but it should be, and I'm so willing to look for more, and I'm hoping to update this episode at some point, or at least in my own personal experience, is to reflect upon this and be like, wow, in like a year or two, how much it's changed, because education and their policies change so rapidly and so many different techniques come out that it's, wow, we're trying to figure out what's best for our students. And I want to see how this progresses in terms of individuality versus universal. And so yeah, I really hope you enjoyed this, and that is the end of my podcast series for the big 6 main ideas. Thank you for listening, and I hope you have a great day.